What is up, RetroManiacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I'm from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And I'm joined by the twin brothers from different mothers, the only pair that can beat a full house. They are Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, boys?
That's terrific. Oh my God. I've never.
I mean, that's a t-shirt. We talked about t-shirts, EP. Write that in the journal for t-shirt ideas. The only pair that can beat.
Full disclosure, that was totally ripped off from Jim Cornette introducing the Midnight Express back in the day. But hey, if you're gonna steal from the best.
Steal from the best.
Definitely. Good stuff, though, right?
You love Absolutely. Your man Paul Heyman, and he is the GOAT. Jim Cornette, pretty great. I mean, Corny was always great.
I heard the twin brothers from different mothers thing in his podcast. He was like talking about introducing them. I'm like, oh, I'm taking that. And then I got the only pair that can beat a full house. I'm like, oh, I'm taking that too.
So. Wrap it into one big one. I like it. Fantastic. Deep cut.
How's it going, boys?
Let's start with him.
Are we going to start
with a green screen?
I don't understand.
Are you sure?
What are you talking about? I don't understand.
What's the new guy? Let us know if it's freaking you out looking at EP with that background. Like, my brain cannot process.
This is not a green screen.
Are you sure?
Yes. I am on vacation. I'm actually using I'm in my sister's room because she has a desk and a door that I could lock, and I'm closer to the internet. So this is actually my sister and her family's room behind me. So yes,
at the vacation rental.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I said vacation at the very beginning. I'm on vacation. So yeah.
You didn't say you were at a vacation rental. You said you were on vacation, and then you said you're in your sister's room.
Your sister's
room. Right. At his sister's house? Is that something people do? I don't know.
I mean, if she lived at the beach, probably, yeah. But no.
Fair.
Right.
Fair.
Right.
Fair.
We're in Delaware, Bethany Beach. I haven't gone to the beach yet, and I probably won't be going to the beach, but I'm just here having some beverages and playing some cornhole and just having a good time.
Fireball and cornhole.
Right.
That's EP's dream vacation right there. And he gets to live it every year.
I was going through old videos, okay? Mm-hmm. And I came because I had to delete some because I'm holding on to my iPhone 10. Like I bought like chargers that like charge it without plugging it in because your idea ended up working and not working afterwards, EP. Mm-hmm. So I'm like spending money to not get a new phone because I hate spending money on a phone. And I'm going through old videos to delete some that I don't need anymore so I could record stuff for the channel, right?
Right.
And I came across the video of us at your house, Mike, at the dining room table. EP Mulatto puts on the Fireball song and starts table dancing. I don't know if you have time to edit into the video, Mike, but I'll send it to you just in case. One of the funny, and just when they hit the Fireball part and Pete's like this, kills me every time. I watch the whole video on loop about 3 times. It's fantastic. So yeah, Fireball in your future.
I had Fireball for breakfast this morning before we started recording. So yeah, everything's great. The thing is though, like I was gonna say, I drink at least one of these full of water every day when I'm here. So I'm probably, as much as I'm drinking and all that sort of stuff, I'm probably healthier here than I am at home. So
I thought you said that was Fireball in there.
It's not Fireball, it's water. I was just making that up. But I was thinking about it though. I should fill that with Fireball and just take it with me everywhere, and then I always have some Fireball with me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people would assume it's your water. So
right. He's so healthy. Look at him.
Wow.
Drinking all that water all the time.
Picture of health. That's what people, as you're waddling around like the 3 of us tend to do. Yes, a picture of health, Eric Pahalik.
Wow. Yeah. Well, before I forget to get to it, I have a little bit of news. This Saturday, it's how many days is that from Monday? 5 days? This Saturday night. Well, that's what I'm saying. I was counting from today, which is Monday, clearly, Joe.
Yep.
But people are waiting for you to say what's going to happen this Saturday. We're going to do a live stream.
June 30th? Wow.
I think it's 29th.
June 29th, EP.
June 29th.
Got it.
Yeah. Wow. He is not. He's on vacation. He doesn't have to.
Plaster that across the screen so people don't get confused.
June 29th, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be here. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be our unfiltered cells. We're not going to be monetized, so we can say what we want. So yeah, especially him. Wow.
Can I have Fireball? Can I have Fireball for that?
You can have whatever you want, EP.
Yes.
I would think that our viewers probably expect the Fireball.
A little bit.
All right.
I will say, and this will be a live stream, kind of, sort of, unofficially sponsored by a brewery. We're not going to say which one yet, but we've got some beers from a brewery. Gave them to me. I shipped them off to you guys. Brought them off to you. Dropped them off with you guys a couple months ago at this point because we thought we were going to do a live stream much sooner. So I'm very excited. So stop on by. Ask us anything. I'm ready.
Yeah. We have been begging for a beer company to just give us some free beer since episode 1, and now we finally have a show that we're going to have beer that was actually given to us by a brewery.
Yes.
So how cool is that?
I'm excited to try it out. Yeah.
So you guys don't want to miss that. That is no, not what is day? Saturday.
Saturday.
29th.
Jesus H.
O'clock. I was joking. I was totally joking. Yeah. So that's all I got for you. Anything else? Are we done?
Well, yeah. Speaking of beer, ship it. Just...
Yep, we're done. Thanks, guys.
This beer is not sponsoring the podcast, but my buddy's on vacation, and I know he's probably having an adult beverage.
I sure am.
So I'm going to join you and have an adult beverage. This is 2 weeks in a row I've been back home at the home base. Mm-hmm. I've got from Lancaster Brewing Company. I was in Lancaster a couple weeks ago. Haze Farmer. So I'm going to try this out. I didn't have it while I was there. EP, what are you having with me?
I have a Sam Adams from the variety pack, a Sam Adams Pool Party Hazy IPA.
That checks out.
Perfect. Yeah.
Couple of
what else would you want on vacation other than Pool Party?
I've never tried this before, so this is a new one for me.
Ooh, wow. It's tasty.
It smells
tasty.
Delicious.
There you go. Wow.
Also Mike, very tasty.
You have a hazy just sitting there?
No, I have my mixed
Fireball.
Right
Your mixed drink.
Somebody has to drive the car, children.
We always say that.
Be me.
Wait, so when you drive us to the National, Mike, does that mean while you're driving the car, open containers are A-okay, or what's that?
I would probably say no on that. Yeah, just saying.
What if we run on the roof? What if we run the roof? Then it's not in the car?
Maybe if we rent a pickup,
there it is.
Sit in the back. Then I don't know. I'll be like, I don't know how they got there.
We'll be driving through Central PA, so no one is going to look sideways at that.
Mike's like, I can't be responsible for those guys. I don't know who they are. They just got in the truck and rode along with me. I don't know.
The police will pull me over. I'll be like, have you ever seen The Fast and the Furious? Well, kind of like that, but this car drove by and these guys just jumped in the back of my truck, started drinking. I didn't know what to do. They pointed something at me and made me want to.
They each had a 24-pack of beer when they jumped in. I can't explain it.
And I was wondering at the time how my truck got like over 500 more pounds
right
of towing.
Slow down. Whoa, what just happened?
Oh shit.
Back tires were rubbing a little bit. Yeah.
the truck nuts were hitting the road. I assume you would have those Central PA and all,
Yeah.
Have those dragging on dragging on the pavement.
And Saturday also EP the 29th is also Card Show Kevin's little yard sale card sale thing he has going on that we're planning on going to. So
I'm excited about that. Yeah, definitely. I warned him that I'm probably not gonna, with the national coming up, I don't know how much I'm gonna spend. I might look for, I'm gonna definitely look through the cards, but he's more interested about getting together and talking. So that's cool. He's a fun guy to hang around with.
He's gonna make hot dogs. There's food. We're there.
Yeah.
Oh, hot dogs! I might drive in for that.
You should. It's a great time.
Doing the live stream from my car as I'm driving back.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. All right. Well, do you want to get into it this week? I guess we have a job to do here.
Yeah, we probably should.
Wants to know what is going on. Absolutely nothing is going on this week. Really, there has not been a whole lot going in the card world this week.
I go on vacation and the card world stops.
Rightfully so. Yeah. Like they don't want to do anything that would make you have to rush back to Danville, PA,
Right.
cover it on the podcast. So, but I do have a couple nuggets here for us.
Oh, yeah, we're set. We're set. I was going to say real quick before we get into that, I have a question for you boys. Have you seen the new eBay price research option? Have you seen this yet?
They have it on PC. I've used it a couple times, but
if you go to your PC, I've never seen this before. You go to the PC and everything's eligible. So you go to your active, what you're selling, and you click this button, and it shows like you click that price research, and then you go to one of your items and you click that, and it pulls up the research from like basically Terapeak, but you get to see like what you should be priced. Now it's not perfect. There's some glitches to it, just like Terapeak, but you can actually go through. I just found that fascinating. I think I might go through one day and start price checking everything and see how far off I am. Cause there are a couple of things. It's like I listed them a year ago, haven't sold for obvious reasons. Cause I didn't have this price check tool, obviously, but I don't know. Like it's one of those little things that eBay's providing that I was pretty pleased with. Have you used it, EP?
Oh yeah, a number of times. So the cool thing is too, when you click on that, and the window pops up, you can look at sold and what's listed. Like it's got active listings, I think too. It's got both of them, right? I believe. So I mean, yeah, it's actually a pretty nice little feature. Like you said though, like some of the stuff with people putting stuff in the metadata and putting stuff in their titles to like mess everything up. You do end up with a bunch of, not a bunch of, but some weird ones in there sometimes. Sometimes like a PSA 9s in there when you're actually just selling a raw card. But exactly, it helps to be able to scroll through and see a full list of mostly those cards. It's definitely helpful.
Wow, I have not seen that yet, but I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
be better if they somehow had that available before you had it listed, though, wouldn't it?
Well, they do have a weird thing down at where the price is. They kind of have like the average sale of this goes for whatever. That's usually not helpful at all, but they do have something down there.
I thought maybe that was the same window pops up when you're doing a listing, but maybe I
haven't listed anything new recently. So
okay, I
haven't either.
You were supposed to, Mike, last night. You said, or Friday night. Or Saturday night, one of those nights. You were supposed to list stuff.
Yeah, I just want to throw out just quick. I told you guys in that text that I have on my eBay store while I'm away an average of 15 cards per day will be listed on my eBay store. So I'm going to keep that going. Obviously, I'm on vacation settings, but I just wanted to throw it out there and I say that's a cool thing you can do, and try to keep your activity going on your account when you're away.
Well, I don't list on eBay. I don't go on vacation, so I guess it won't help me a whole lot, but you can always count on me being here because I never go because my dogs won't let me. But anyway, can I start the show now? Can we?
So anyway, yeah.
I know not a lot going on, but there are some things I want to talk about. And I guess the main news story of the week is that PSA has added to their N7 evidence of cleaning policy update. They added the wording, additionally, when any foreign substance is applied to the surface of a card, such as cleaning spray or wax, that the card will no longer be eligible for a number grade and can only be graded as authentic altered. So, Ryan Hogue had come out and made clarified their stance on it, but now it's in writing. It's official. I know we're all for it, but no, they finally did it. Is this just I know another content creator kind of likened it to the security system in your house having the sign on your yard when you don't actually have the security system. Is it that, or do you think that they're actually getting better at being able to detect this?
We talk about it all the time. Like it's, the scammers go this far. That means the companies have to go this far. And then the scammers will do something to go this far again. So it's like a constant, like moving target. I think they might have a way to detect the Kurtz Card Care stuff because that's what we're talking about here, right? It's not,
right.
I use eyeglass wipes. Technically, would that fall under I use the eyeglass wipes for some chromium cards.
You're not adding anything. No, it doesn't. I don't think that counts.
But it is a cleaning solution, kind of. I don't know. Like, so I guess for me, I think they might have found a way to detect Kurt's card care. That's my guess. But to that point, it's not a bad analogy with the, the security sign. Depends on the content creator who said it, because I may disagree with them out of principle anyway.
You do.
That's like the most Joe Day statement.
I mean, come on. Yeah. But regardless of who said it, it's not a bad analogy. And it is covering that, hey, if we kick it back, we have the legal standing to kick it back now. We think we found evidence of this. It's in our policy. You can't, come back at us for it. I think that's at least a good start, but I'm hoping Merrill Hodge and the people over at PSA have figured out
Hogue.
Whatever has figured out a way to detect the Kurt's card care, because that's the big culprit of all this. That's why we're talking about it right now.
Yeah, that was what it was. Jeez, I can't say words. That was what I was going to say, Joe. Like putting it in writing is an important step, because they had their guarantee in writing. If card comes back and it's not whatever, also have this in writing. That way they're covered in that regard. And I hope they have figured out a way. Like I've never used card care, so I don't know if the solution has an odor or anything like that. Yeah. But no, I've never actually used it, so I don't know if it maybe their solution smells like water, but I'm guessing I think it doesn't. Like so I would think the smell might be part of it. I don't know how they would determine it if there's no odor to it, and if it, like, so many have gone through already. Like I agree that I hope that they figure something out, but I just don't know if they can. It's gonna be interesting to see, 6 months from now, or even maybe 2 months from now, if there are more of these cards happening, if we're seeing a lot more of them on Twitter, or what's going on. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, I think.
Yeah, will be interesting. I'm sure we will see all the posts of people who get the N7 designation for their card, because people like to complain. So if they get cards, even, and I'm sure when we do, probably most of them, like, I didn't do anything.
No, right? Never. Never. It's like that PMG seller. I don't know how that card got red.
I don't know.
Ink all over it.
How the card got red.
I don't know how the card got red. To your point about the smell, EP, like, I bet you, like, that's on the checklist now. Like, I think Ryan Hodge, whatever, from PSA, I think he did say some people were opening up packages and it was like punching them in the face with the smell. But I wouldn't be surprised if, as people are going through the research and ID, or maybe even the grading process itself, literally smelling the card. Like, if you can't smell it as you open up the box because there's so many cards and was used so much, maybe there is a smell test. Would that shock you? I mean, if that's what they're saying specifically, they can sense that, they can smell that. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if that's part of the check, corners, edges, surface. Ooh, smell, and that's one of the things.
I'm sure they have devices that can like determine, like, parts per million of it in the air as well, that they could. I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to that extent with all the cards or whatever.
It's a scratch and sniff situation.
They probably have something where they could say, okay, well, this one smells like it. Let's run it through this thing or whatever, and then if they do that, then they can say, okay, well, this one has definitely some solution on it. So I could definitely see that being a thing.
And, like, I'm not really that familiar with Kurt's card care either. Like, my understanding was, like, the spray really wasn't anything. Like, I thought that was kind of, like, I've never thought, like, there are different levels to this. They have, the repair kits and stuff. And I think it's more so that, like, I don't really know that if you're using even Kurt's spray, if it's just like distilled water or something like that, and you're rubbing it off, like, they're not gonna, like, be able to detect that, nor is it really something that's really doing anything other than cleaning off any gunk that's on a card. But the cleaning kits for sure, I think, is more because, like, if you're grinding something away or trying to fill in, a divot or something, you're putting something on there, and that's not water. That's going to have a smell to it. So it's more probably the waxes and stuff like that. People, they do the generalizations of the, oh well, yeah, you just spray a little, it's only water. Well, they're not really trying to catch that. They're trying to catch the other stuff where you know that there's damage to the card and you're using a product that is helping you like file something down a little bit or sand it down a little bit or fill something in with something that wasn't there. Like be realistic about this. This is the right thing. I'm glad it's in writing finally. So it's always going to be there. So now going forward, maybe people will. No, they won't. It's the hobby.
No.
People are just going to. Why not?
They're going to just try and get
my card's ruined anyway. I might as well just try.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
But this is another example of those things where if you're doing something like that, it's like it should feel gross to you. You should feel like you're scamming somebody, like you are trying to pull a fast one on somebody.
These aren't collectors doing it though, EP. These aren't. I mean, so they don't give a shit if they scam you, right? These are people that are just trying to make money off of everyone else's back. So sure, they're scamming you. What do I care? I'm not going to stay in this hobby any longer than I have to, right? I'm going to, as long as I can keep making money and, have people fall for the Kurt's Card Care tricks and stuff like that. And then I get a PSA 10, I sell it to some sucker. What do I care? If I'm that person. So I think to your point, Mike, and I don't know the answer to this either. I don't know what the solution is like. Like there was a big deal about putting was it like a 52 Jackie Robinson or something in
with the soaking?
Soaking, if you're soaking, it's a little different.
Yeah. I don't know what and that might be different than just the little spray solution too. It might be something a little bit more, chemically. I don't think that's a word, but something with chemicals in it, chemically, and you put it in there. Yeah. So yeah, that one, you would think that card would smell. Like that's the type of card you would think that they could get the odor from.
And sports card dad Dustin just had a really good video about this too. And he's saying the same thing we've said all along. The people are not doing this because they want that card to look nice in their collection. Let's just stop with that narrative. You're doing it because you're trying to make money on a card and you want to sell it to somebody without telling them what you did to it. You want to sneak it through the grading company, get a good grade. So it's all about trying to make more money on a card. None of this, I don't want to hear it. Fight me in the comments. I don't care. You're not doing it for your own PC. You're not doing it because you want the best version of the card and you want to fix it. You're doing it because you want to screw somebody else. You're not going to tell them. If you weren't trying to screw them, you would have no problem telling them. But to the people that support this, I'm sorry. You're only doing it for financial gain, but you don't want to let people know you did it. So you're scamming them. You are. That's simple.
Yep. And you know what, Mike, unless some rando comes and finds this video, I don't think our subscribers would fight you in the comments because I think they're all pretty much on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
But to take it a little bit further, anyone who's okay with this and calls themselves a collector, let me know. Again, comment below or at me on Twitter, whatever. Let me know, are you okay buying a card has been altered?
Right.
Or clean. Let me know because
for real,
not like, oh, sure, because it fits my narrative. No, if you're a collector and you really want to keep this card for your PC, are you fine going out and spending PSA 10 money on a card that should not be a PSA 10 that was fixed to be a PSA 10? So, and I've never heard anyone say, sure, yeah, that's what I'm all here for. No, they're not. They just want to, like you said, Mike, make money off of someone else.
Yep. And I think about imagine if you are one of those collectors who gets one of those cards and then you find out later that this is one of the ones that was like
your stomach.
I'm just like, especially I was thinking about your Gretzky rookie, Mike. Imagine somebody, they finally go out and they finally get their Gretzky. That's a PSA 10. It's like, I've been waiting for this card for my entire life. This is my Grail card. They get it, and then somehow they find out later that this is one of the cards from that from this Kurt's Card Care or from any other one of these kinds of solutions or whatever.
Evan Mathis or Evan Mathis, right?
Right. And it's just like the ejection would be so ridiculous, right? I feel like a real collector would be like, I can't believe this is not a real PSA 10. This is not the card that I paid for. Just and that people are out there and they're okay with doing that to collectors. To me, that's really terrible.
There are a lot of them out there that are okay with it too. But yeah, tell me you want to have that card that was fixed for your collection for like 20 years. You're going to feel confident that 20 years from now that card will be exactly the same. Yeah, I'm here with that. Well, some other what may be news or may not be news, I'm not sure, but the word going around were that the PSA graders notes will not be available to anybody but the person who submits the card. So apparently they're not going to be available to the public, where like if you're interested in a card, you can see that card on eBay, look up this cert number and find the grader's note. You won't have access to them. Only the person who submitted it does, which kind of weird in some ways, although I can see a situation where maybe you want to keep that guarded, because going back to what we were just saying about people,
that's exactly where my mind was going, man.
They'll be looking for I can fix that one, so I'm going to get this. So I guess I talked myself out of thinking that this is a little weird, to thinking that because of the way the hobby is, it's probably necessary.
So it reminds me of the comic books, right? So graders notes are 100% available to anyone with a certain number. You don't need to be the owner of the comic book or the original submitter of the comic book. You can just pull up the certain number, plug it in, and get the graders notes. And what happens is, and the guy, I've shouted him out a couple times, Improve Collecting or Improve Comics, big time comic book, clean press and resubmit guy or submit guy. But he will find like 7.5s of like Silver Age or Bronze Age comics and look at the graders notes and say, oh, I can now, again, within their CGC's allowance, I can fix that comic, right? And he does that a lot. He'll crack it out of the case and he'll press it if there's, some discoloration or whatever, or like something stuck on the book, he can remove that. And again, that is all on the up and up from CGC. With cards, you're exactly right. People are going to look at those graders notes and they're going to say, oh, all I need to do is soak this for 2 hours and I might be able to bump it up from an 8 to a 10. Right. So I think that's where the issue comes in. That being said, this is a great tool if you're selling the card, though. You have a PSA 9, screen cap the graders notes, put them as part of a picture, and then
think
say,
you're not supposed to do that, though.
You're not supposed to do a lot of things in this.
But that was part of, I think they're supposed to not be publicized. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if they would allow that.
Because it'd be interesting if like the buyer reached out to the seller and said, oh, are there graders notes for this card? I mean, the seller has a chance to sell the card. They're not going to say, oh, like if the buyer is not going to buy it unless he can see the graders notes, if you have an opportunity to sell the card, I don't think you're going to not provide those, whether it's a screen cap or just typing out what they are in the messenger. I'm sure people will do that. I'm sure those graders notes will get out.
They will too. Yeah.
But one of my thoughts was, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you have people have been buying cards without them for so long.
Oh, yeah.
So like, of course, now people like, I would maybe be questioning, why do you want to know so bad? But I don't,
but what do you care if you're the seller?
Yeah,
what do you,
I guess.
Like you're still selling the card if they look at the graders notes. Now, if the graders notes say there's a massive print, well, that Kurt's Card Care can fix. I'm thinking of things that Kurt's Card Care can't fix, right? Like there's
what can it fix?
Off-centered,
right? That I would hope,
which you should be able to see,
right?
I don't know.
And if it's off-centered, you can just send it to Evan Mathis. So
we're good.
Exactly.
One of my questions, as you were talking, Joe, was what happens if I buy a card for Mike that's a graded card and I become the new owner of this card? I don't have access to those notes. Only the seller will have access to those.
Like it.
Only the submitter, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's the submitter. So like that card could go through a bazillion people, but the only person that can ever look at those notes is the original submitter. That just seems kind of weird. Like I mean, I feel like if you're the owner of that card now, you should be able to see that. I agree that yes, it's probably like the two news bits that we've had here, these last two things, they seem like they go kind of hand in hand.
They do
a little bit.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
That's why they were put next to each other in the show. EP Mike runs a great ship here. Come on,
I know what I'm doing.
So, but yeah, I feel like obviously it's a good in that regard, but also like I would like to know the graders notes on my card. If I now own the card, I would want to know. I want to know what.
But if you never did before, is it really that big of a deal?
It's not that big of a deal. No. I'm not I'm not like
if you're buying a 9, you're buying a 9 and you're getting a 9. Whereas if you were the person that sent it in that didn't get the 10, I can see why. Oh well, why didn't I get the 10? Why did I get the 9?
Right.
Whereas you're just buying the 9, so maybe it won't be quite as big a deal. Like it's all new, so we really don't know. For some people are
gonna be upset. If they give
social media will make it a huge deal. Mike, come on, you know better. But it kind of reminds me of, it's not the same thing, but it reminds me of this. If you submit cards to SGC, you have seller ready pictures.
Mm-hmm.
If you just look up a cert number on SGC, you don't have access to those. So it's again, very different things, but like that's another example where the submitter only has access to something. So there is a little bit of a precedent, but in that case, it's more an inconvenience of, I just want to see a picture of the card, or really nice, like a scan like PSA has, that SGC does provide the submitter. In the other case, it's how can I potentially crack this card out and make it a 10? Right. Which again, in a lot of scenarios, if you crack out a 9 and just resubmit it, you're going to get a 10 anyway. Like you don't have to do anything to it. So like, I don't know what that information is going to tell you. Now for vintage, maybe there's a bigger, like, oh, if I crack this out, maybe, there's a little wax stain on the back. Maybe I can get something there. And you can't see it from the scans because the scans aren't picking up the wax or the gum residue or whatever. Maybe there's something there. I think this might be more of a vintage thing that people could go after. And because with ultra modern, again, it's all about, unless it's the centering, it's all about cracking and just sending it back. Right. Like just get some guy on a good day and it's a 10 anyway.
All right. Well, one card, did you know on this one, the story for EP is Joe, although Joe is a baseball expert now, but the Anthony Volpe MLB debut patch was finally pulled. That was like the big one that was out there that hadn't been pulled yet. Pine Tar Breaks in Southern California pulled it. And this is a card that David Adams has a $150K bounty on. My question to you guys, are you taking them up on their offer? Are you getting 150K? Or are you going to sell it on your own? EP?
I'm a giant Yankees fan, and
are you going to keep it? Oh, you're going to keep it.
No, I would definitely, I would not keep it. And nothing against Anthony Volpe, but like, yeah, I'd take the 150K. That's guaranteed money, and I don't think it's probably sells for more than that. Like maybe ever again. So definitely take their cash.
Joe?
I'm not a baseball expert, though it seems that way from time to time. I'm not a baseball expert, but I am an expert on liking money. And in my expert opinion, yeah, I'm taking the $150,000 bounty. It's interesting. I forget who posted this on Twitter. It might have been Card Purchaser or someone else, but like no other one of these have gone above what, $10,000 or $15,000. Now Volpe is like the hit, right? He's the guy you would want to get, but with everything else being kind of that low, does this go for $150,000? I mean, I over $150,000 if you sell it on your own. I'm taking the guaranteed $150K from David Adams. I don't know how he's been playing. EP, you would know that better than I.
I don't either. I thought he was. Didn't he start the year? I thought he started the year hurt. Like, so I'm not even sure if he.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I did read that on I almost said X. I did read that on Twitter. No, right? Jesus. Yeah, I don't take the risk that if I go and sell it, because you never know with an auction. Sure, someone could say, I really want this card and give you $200,000 for it, and there's a battle between two people. But what do we say all the time, Mike? And your answer might be different than mine, but what do we say all the time? For an auction, you need 2 people to want it. For a buy it now / bounty, you only need David Adams to want it, and that's $150K guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm taking that money. No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, this was pretty much the obviously segment of the podcast. And don't tell us in the comments that you would take the money. Let us know if you wouldn't, because I don't know that there's anybody out there that wouldn't take the money.
Yeah.
That's the real question. Is there anybody? Even I think Volpe himself would even take the money for it.
Probably.
I'm not stupid, bro.
Yeah.
How much money? We talked about these bounties before. How much money do you think like David Adams made off that? As that's a promotional, obviously a promotional thing. Because like how much of that product did they sell?
This was last year's product, right?
Yeah. Like they probably made out really well on that.
Oh,
probably,
yeah. Right? How many cases did they sell? Because the big hit did not get pulled until a year later. So I mean, they were making money hand over fist on this one. So I got to believe that they're fine paying the 150. It's it is what it is. I thought these were supposed to be redemptions, though, Mike. Didn't we have a conversation about these because they were the patches?
I think they are. Yeah,
I think they are. I think that was don't they have the picture of the card?
Yeah, the image.
That's what it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes me feel a little bit. I'm like, boy, that looks perfect. That's perfect. But and that's another thing. David Adams could technically back out if they can say, oh, it's not a PSA.
It had to be a PSA. Yeah, it had to be a relatively high grade.
Yeah, something like that. So hopefully they don't be dicks and say, oh, well, I see a little bit of a something on this. It's going to be a PSA 2, and PSA does grade those thick cards tougher. I don't know. An 8's kind of a 10 in PSA's terms for thick cards. So, yeah, but take the money.
What I heard from you in this segment was that Fanatics intentionally held that back so David Adams could sell more of the product. Is that what you're saying?
Tinfoil hat.
I love your tinfoil hat as a helmet. Like
it's going all the way on, man. All right, here's my question for you guys. What is the one card related thing? If you sold this $150,000 card, is there a card thing you would buy after you sold it?
No.
No, you would this would be just money for you.
Put that toward like a beach house.
I don't mean all of it. I don't mean all of it. Whoa. I don't mean all of it. What's the first card thing you would?
No, I'm taking all that money and I'm putting it toward a beach house.
Okay.
Yeah, get out of here with that.
I'd buy something, but it would be like $1,000 box of cards or something. It wouldn't be anything outrageous. Yeah.
Not me. I'm getting the beach house, just like EP has right down there. See, he already has the beach house, so he doesn't have to worry about it. He can spend it on cards.
He sold all those cards behind him in previous videos.
He did, and now he's in this place.
Yep.
All right. Well, I took one for the team this week.
Yeah, you did.
I watched the Jeff Wilson show again because he had on Fanatics event CEO. Let me get this name right. Lance Fensterman. So he very animated guy. You could tell he really I didn't hire him, but I felt really good about their hiring of this guy. He had helped set up the New York City Comic-Con. That was kind of his claim to fame. He's done these event type things for quite a while now and done a lot of them. And you can tell he is it's his passion. It was actually very fun to watch him. He moves around more than I do. I was joking to you, Joe. I watched it on 1.5 or 2 times. Pick out the good stuff. And Jeff Wilson didn't move even on 2x speed, but the guy was moving in, moving out, very animated. So somebody like me that likes to spin my chair around, I appreciated that. But talked a lot about the big fan fest they have going. What's the name of it? Fanatics. But why am I drawing a blank on the name?
Was just Fanatics Fest or isn't
something? Whatever it's called. You know what it is. We're old. We forget stuff.
What? I don't even know what it is. I'm like, oh, how does he not know? And I'm like, I don't know.
I know, right?
Fanatics Fest. I think it is Fanatics Fest.
I think it is Fanatics Fest.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you know it, but then it doesn't sound right when you say it. But yeah, some information in there I found out. He said there would be 300-ish dealers for cards and stuff. So it's going to be a pretty big card show, but a pretty big card show with a lot of other stuff going on with it, a lot of other, you know, fan fest kind of things. They're supposed to have the NFL's supposed to be doing the 40-yard dash thing that they set up. They're going to have that as an experience there. They're going to have one of the things too, Joe, I wanted to bring this up for you. I wrote this down because he specifically said they're going to have in the hobby area where the tables and dealers are set up, there's going to be a main stage in the center of it where they're going to do a lot of card related things. And he said that there will be other hobby brands doing things in a major way that are some really cool stuff. So your question about like Panini or any of the other card companies, would they be welcome in? Apparently, yes, is the answer to that question. So that was the first thing that stood out to me. Was it is a big thing. They're going to have in that center stage area, they're going to have like different demonstrations, kind of like classes almost for like new collectors, like collecting 101 kind of things, more advanced stuff going on. They're going to be giving out stuff to people there. Like one of the things he showed, like the whole theme of this, he said going in is how do we grow the hobby? So they're trying to, you know, have a melting pot of all these different things going on together, with the hopes being that the people that are there for like the NFL experience kind of thing, or the people that are there to see the different apparel and stuff, they can also get them interested in cards. And they're going to have a lot of ways they're going to give stuff out to them, explain to them some of the weird stuff in the hobby, like what a parallel is, what a base card is, and what the difference is, why one's worth more than the other. So it made me really excited for the hobby seeing this event. Now I know it's just one event, but his passion for it was really cool. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool event.
Yeah, I let's go. I'm in.
Okay.
It's New York. It's a road trip, right?
2.5 hour drive.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I'd have to drive 4 hours to get to you guys, but then, you know, maybe I'll just fly in. You can pick me up at the airport.
Not doing that.
Airport pickup run. So first thing, your point about the guy, yeah, it does sound. New York Comic Con is massive. You know, I don't know if it's San Diego is still probably the biggest, but New York is massive. So that's cool that he has that experience. To me, he's probably a, you know, maybe an ancillary collector, but it sounds like he's more of a event planning person.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's what you need. You don't need someone in the hobby, because then you get the national at Cleveland and Chicago every other, you know, like, so you want someone who is just an event planner. And I think that's a great hire. To the point about the different companies coming in, that will probably be what they do for the first 2 years of this, right? Like they can't have, because you mentioned like NFL experience and the 40-yard dash and stuff like that. You can't have that with the cards without having actually NFL cards, right? So I have a feeling that that's why they'd be okay with Panini this year and maybe Panini, I guess, next year, right? But like in future years, if Panini's just selling soccer, I don't think they would have other companies in. Once they have all of the,
why wouldn't they though?
Yeah, why not?
By that point, they won't.
They're not afraid of them at all. Like they're harmless.
But I think once, well, hell, by that point they might have all the soccer licenses. Who knows? So what's it matter? But I think they need to have Panini there this year. I don't think they would for future years. I don't know if they will, but I'm saying they wouldn't have to have them there. But this year, if you're going to lean into the NFL stuff, especially as the season's coming up, I think you do need to have a Panini presence and the football stuff there. The NFL football stuff.
That is an interesting point. Like I didn't think about it that way, but I would think why not have, if you're trying to do this for the hobby, why not have everybody there? And I realize they're a corporate company, and that's
that's adorable.
So, well, no, I mean, the difference is first, like you were talking, what was the quote again about the hobby people doing whatever that thing again?
The other hobby brands doing things in a major way and some really cool stuff.
Are we going to announce that we're going to be at the center stage? Like we're going to be there?
Well, unfortunately, one of the things I wrote down here where they're going to have live podcasts.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten invited yet.
Oh, man.
Have either of you guys?
No.
They wouldn't have live podcasts without us being there, right?
I have no comment.
Definitely not.
I have no comment.
It's all Joe's fault.
It's all Joe.
He's always ripping.
No. I have no comment whether or not I've been invited or not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you were invited without us.
Okay. They want someone that will push back on them. They don't want just sycophants and yes men.
The Joe Day show.
Exactly. They want someone who will speak truth to power. And that's what I'm here for, folks. But no invite. But I'm sure it's going to be the Jeff Wilsons of the world. It's going to be
really?
Yeah, I think Card Collector 2 of the world. Like it's going to be like people like that. So it will be whoever they made a card of, basically. Will have a live podcast there or be on their live podcast. Yeah, it's not going to be peons like us. It's going to be those big deal, Topps big league people that'll be on the main stage.
To go back to your one of your original points, like talking about the guy being animated and excited about it. Like in my job, I have a team underneath me, and then I have other people that I kind of oversee in our newsroom. And I love when people are passionate about things. I could tell they're excited about things and that stuff like that. So that actually, the reason I'm a little more excited about it is because they got this guy in, and potentially happening there if this guy's still doing it, because it sounds like he's just is raring to go. And obviously that's his job as a marketer or whatever. But when you can tell the difference between somebody who's just marketing is their job as opposed to somebody who has the passion about it. And it sounds like this guy definitely has that energy level.
Yeah, it definitely does. Okay. Way back in episode 1, we talked a little bit about doing the shows and stuff. And one of the things we talked about is something that they're actually doing. They're going to have a number of different stages, not just the one in the card area, but they're going to be doing panels. They're going to have Tom Brady and Derek Jeter on one. They're going to have the Manning brothers doing another one. They're actually going to have Jimmy Butler there too, talking about his coffee company, which I didn't know he had, but apparently he has a growing coffee business. So like he was talking about
he's a basketball player, EP.
He's basketball
thanks.
player,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
About, this is going to be a lot of things to a lot of people, like, business people. They're going to be talking about business and stuff. They're going to be talking about collecting. They're going to be talking about apparel. They're going to be talking about their stories. Like we talked about how, like, why doesn't the National have more of this kind of stuff? Like have athletes there talking about their career, talking about their after careers and stuff like that. And they're doing that, which is something I don't know if I'll get there to be able to see all this stuff, but that is actually very interesting to me. Like the Jimmy Butler coffee stuff. Like I'm fascinated by the business side of the hobby, and like, hearing his story about his coffee company. I'm actually more interested in that than hearing Tom Brady and Derek Jeter talk.
Like I totally EP'd this and had a really great point. And
it was a great point, though, Joe.
Well,
yeah,
we can go,
you go EP.
I was gonna ask who's the linebacker who quit as a pro player to sell Pokemon cards? What was his name? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Blake. He played for your New York Giants.
Yeah,
someone or other.
Right.
Yeah.
But is he going to be there?
Blake Martinez.
Blake Martinez.
Yes. Yeah. You think he's going to be there? You think he's going to be one of the people that they bring there for that?
Hopefully, yeah.
I do love this. I agree. I agree 100% that this is awesome, and like this is the kind of stuff that we need more of. Like this is going to make it more than a card show. We talked about that. Like that's something that we've talked about when we talk about if we're going to run our own card show, that sort of stuff. Like this is one of the things that we talked about where it's like turn it into something more than just a card show, right? You got it back. You got it back.
I got it back. Joe. First off, I just need to say they could say we're going to have this out in a field with like 3 picnic tables and like 2 boxes of cards, and EP would be like, this is the greatest event that's ever been held in cards ever because Fanatics is doing it.
This is why we're not getting invited.
Exactly. Schmooze,
hey,
come on, you gotta
been,
schmooze a little better.
Where's you've been critical of Fanatics too recently, so you're finally coming to my side, which I appreciate.
I'm right down the middle.
I call it the dark side.
Yeah. But to your point, Mike, like, why doesn't the National do this? It's because they don't have Michael Rubin. Like, no one at the National can call up Tom Brady and say, hey, man, can you sit on a panel? No one at the National can call up Peyton Manning. And I guarantee you they're getting like an appearance fee and all that. But like Rubin, he brings it all together. I don't think he's a card guy. He's a business guy. And that's fine, whatever. But he brings those people to this. The National doesn't have that connection that he has. They have the connection.
But they have a ton of people there to sign autographs. They could maybe
that's a third party thing. I think that's not through the National. That's TriStar. So they have the connection with TriStar.
If you have those guys there, the National could also go, well, would you be interested? But they don't. Like,
here's a little more on top of your fee. Like
they have people there that people would be interested in listening to, but they've never tried to take advantage of that, basically being what I'm saying.
Yeah. And Michael Rubin would, like, if he was in charge of the National, it would be like, hey, Dan Marino, hey, you want to come up and also talk? And I think the National just doesn't have that business sense, that flair. Like, he's got a flair about him, Rubin, right? So see, I'm trying to suck up now so that we get invited. He's got this like flair about him that he can, get people on his side to do things. So I think if he was in charge of the National, there would be stuff like this for years and years, but he's not, and he has the connections. My question is it Brady's full body, or is it just the head and they're bringing someone else in to play the body from the neck down?
That was not confirmed.
It was not confirmed nor denied. So, okay.
Yeah. I think it's kind of one of those you have to go and find out things.
Yeah.
Is he going to sign stuff for people there? Is that something that they're going to allow that to
They
happen?
are doing signings. I don't know if he's going to sign.
Okay.
All right. Maybe he'll just do the.
Now, if Rubin asked him to,
then they'd be beautiful. Absolutely.
They would be.
They're best
as
buddies.
They should be. No one's sneaking stuff in. Rubin will make sure it's taken care of.
So a couple other tidbits. He did specifically say that is not created to replace the National. They said they're very respectful of the National. It's a big thing for the hobby. They're kind of a different kind of event anyway. So they're not trying to replace the National. Whether or not it does that, who knows? But it said he said they would like to have 2 major shows in the US every year. So it's not going to be something that is just traveling all around. The one will always be in New York City, it sounds like, in the end of the summer or early fall, because he kept talking about the facility, the Javits Center. So they're clearly going to keep having at least the New York City version, and then they want to have one other, probably West Coast, I would imagine, although he didn't confirm or say anything about that. And then like the one in Pittsburgh, Joe, is what they're calling an in-venue event, which is basically they're working like with, what's the name of the ballpark out there? PNC. I guess it's going to be in the ballpark like during a game or something. So it's not really like the show that they're having in New York. And then they're going to have some other regional shows that'll be more of a card show. He called it a card show plus. So it'll be more, there's one scheduled, I guess, in Orlando that'll be a card show with some things going on along with it, but it's not going to be anything to the scale of the New York show. So yeah, they're going to look for one other. They sound like they want to take it internationally too, and do a couple international shows, and then the 2 in the United States.
I wonder, with like the cost of maybe tabling there, if like, and I don't think this is a slight on you at all, EP. Like, you go to the National and you want to sit at dollar boxes and you want to go through and pull out like big stacks of cards and buy junk wax and stuff like that, which a lot of people do at the National. Like, I don't want to say true collectors that go to the National, because it's definitely gone beyond that. But there are a lot of people more like EP who would love to saddle up to a dollar box. I don't envision that this would have that just because of the cost of the space.
They're gonna have 300 dealers. They're gonna have a mix of the different dealers. I think that 300 is a lot. That's like 4 times what we have at the mall show. And I realize it's going to be a bigger area with
but the tables at the mall show are a little bit cheaper, so you can have a ton of dollar boxes.
Sure, but I feel like there's going to be maybe it's not a super like the ideal mix for somebody like me, but they're going to have dealers of all kinds there. I have a feeling with that many numbers, I feel like it's probably going to be.
They said it similar in size to like the Dallas card show, like vendor wise. So it's big. It's just not quite national.
Let us know if you're going down below. I know our buddy Ziggy is going to probably go for a day or two, he had mentioned. So let us know if you're going to Fanatics Fest or whatever it might be called down below in the comments.
And then we're wondering why our podcast isn't going to be there.
Fanatics something or other. I think Fanatics is in the name. Maybe Fest. I don't know. Is there a fan in there?
I'm pretty sure that when we were talking about it at one point, one of the we were discussing what it was going to be like, and I think I used the words Card Show Plus to describe it at one point. I'm pretty sure that I said that before they did. So I just want to pat myself on the back on that.
Wow, EP.
I feel pretty good about that.
You should have trademarked it.
You're like looks down there, patting yourself on the back. Jesus.
Oh wow. Okay, well, you guys brought up the National a couple times, and why don't we talk a little bit about that? Because National time coming up, sneaking up on us, happening a lot faster than I realize it is, but right around the corner. I just had a couple questions for you guys about it. We're going to do some standalone content about this, but I wanted to just have a little bit of a national conversation because, kind of a light news week. We love cards. We love going to the National. This is going to be a fun trip. I want to know from you guys, like, what is it that you're looking forward to this year in going to the National? Not saying like what specifically you're looking for, but like in general, like what are you looking forward to on this trip? What do you think is going to be fun about it, other than being with me?
Well, I wasn't going to specifically say you, but in all seriousness, like the group getting together, the 3 of us, our buddy Mike Jones, we're road tripping out there. I'm actually coming in from Pittsburgh to Danville for other reasons. I'm just staying in Danville and I'm going to road trip all the way to Cleveland. And then I'm staying in Cleveland a couple of days after you guys leave to hit up a couple of restaurants that Rob and I were looking at. But I'm looking,
sorry, everything's fine. Nope, it's fine.
Wave riding over there or what? What's going on? But I'm looking forward to that aspect because I'll tell you, when we drove to Atlantic City, it's about a 3-hour drive, Mike, for us from Danville. The trip was hilarious. I mean, I still have videos. I couldn't bring myself to delete them. As little storage is left on my phone. Those stupid car videos I could not delete. We never used any of that content, by the way, but it still cracks me up. Also, I'm looking forward to like knowing what a National is like this time, if that makes sense. Like we didn't, and we're going to do a video kind of like what to look for if you're a first timer kind of thing. I'm happy I'm not a first timer anymore. I kind of have a sense of what, it's going to be different in different location, but I have a sense of how I want to approach it, how I want to kind of tackle it. Where last year we were just like, oh my God, where do I go? What do I do? And, our buddy was texting us. Mike Jones was texting us like, oh, hey, you should check this part out because it's got a Dan Marino PMG, or Mike, there's some wrestling stuff over here. So he was texting us ahead of time, but it was so big we couldn't even find those things. Like it's like where, what number are we at? So just having some knowledge of how it works going in ahead of time, I think I'm looking forward to that. I won't be so in the dark.
Yeah, I agree 100% on the trip and stuff. Like I'm definitely most looking forward to just hanging out. Like we hang out and do a lot of other stuff, but we don't always hang out and do card stuff. So that's going to enhance our hanging out. I did for the National last time, so just going to be more of that. So that's going to be great. Personally, like what I'm going to be looking for, some sort of funky wax, a box of something that's cheap that is funky. I don't know if it's going to be baseball, football, basketball. It's going to be non-sports. I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'm going to find something that I could open on the channel and just have a blast with. So that's something cheap. That's definitely I'm going to look for what I'm going to do. And I agree with your take, Joe, that like knowing obviously it's a different venue, so it's going to be set up differently. Possibly there's a lot of different stuff there, but knowing what the National is after having been there once and kind of understanding that it is overwhelming, being able to get rid of some of that whelm and just
ground yourself a little bit,
right, and just kind of go there. I even think like Joe, if I remember correctly, wasn't it like the second day when you went, you were looking for that Tom Brady card, and like you had more of a plan after the first day. The first day, like you're like, if you're
the first day was
you're just like, what is this? So that's going to be super helpful. But yeah, I'm gonna look for some funky wax. That's I'm excited about that too.
Real quick about funky wax, if you haven't watched it yet, yesterday Sunday I ripped a box of 1999 Skybox Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 7. Looking for Patrick Stewart autographs. I might do that again at the National. I might look for another box of that. That was such a fun rip. So go and watch that. But yeah, funky wax. Get some non-sports EP. It's way more fun.
That's probably what I'm going to do.
Because you normally don't. Probably. That's something different for you.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like the social aspect of it is what's fun. Like I don't really care about what I'm going to purchase yet. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to purchase anything. Duh. I'm going to a card show. Like if I go to the little shows here, I always purchase stuff. So it's going to be different. Yeah. It's going to pull a cart behind me at the whole show. But like this kind of show is all about like that social aspect. Like that's the fun part of the hobby. Everybody that really enjoys the hobby talks about it. You know, getting to know people, getting to talk to people, see people. Like I'm gonna have a great time going with you guys. I really hope some of the other people like that I know from Twitter and that we know from the channel here and other content creators, like I hope we're able to like have a little bit of time to just hang out and talk to those people too. I'd really enjoy that. Like that is what I enjoy about the hobby, and that's what I really hope to enjoy about this trip. Like if you're going to the National and you see us, please stop and talk to us because we want to talk to you. We want to.
If you see one of these,
you'll know it's us. Like, I mean, these beautiful mugs.
Right. Well, if you're listening to the podcast, if you only listen to the podcast, they can't see the T-shirt. Yeah. They can't see the T-shirt anyway that we just showed up.
Yeah, but hopefully, like, come up, talk to us. Say, hey, I watched the shows. I'm one of your fans. I'm so and so, and we'll know who you are. Like some other content creators. But did you see the picture that Dustin put on? Was it Twitter? Like he and Chris Sewell and I wasn't sure who the other guy was. Apologize, but like all having a little meal. I was like, dude, you need to meet up with us, but there would not be enough room on that table for the food that we would have. They have this tiny little bit of food, like
adorable. That's how they're thin. That's how
Dustin had what wine? Did it? Come on, man. Come on, do better.
I mean, I drink wine. Don't get me wrong, I'll drink wine, but if I'm going to the National, I'm pounding some beers with my boy EP. You know that's happening.
Yep, definitely happening. I know. Card Show Kevin is going as well, and he said for us trying to meet up. You know, maybe have some dinner or something. I said for sure we'll figure out a way to meet up in some way. So. Yeah. Like I definitely looking forward to that too. Like 100%. The people from the local people that we know. Like meeting up with them, obviously, and then the people that we can only see at the National for the most part. That's going to be fun for both.
Was there last year, or not last year, 2 years ago, right? Fish.
Was he? Yeah,
he was there last. Or I keep saying last year. He was there 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was there
when we were there. So that was cool meeting him. For me, anyway, I'd met him before, but I'll say this: there's even some content creator that I may or may not have an imaginary beef with. If he wants to come up, I'll buy him a beer. He knows who he is. If he wants to come up, I'll buy him a beer. Whatever beer he wants. He doesn't watch our show. Dustin, let him know.
Especially not to the end.
All right. Dustin, I'll buy him a beer. Let him know.
Yeah. Squash that beef.
Squash that imaginary beef.
That imaginary beef. That is no clue. Just because Joe likes to take little shots. Poke
what do they say? What do they say? Punch up, Mike.
Yeah, punch up. Definitely. I agree with that. Absolutely. One other thing, like, how do you think it'll be different than Atlantic City? This is the tough
I won't have to do this.
I mean, other than like
being Neo.
The real Neo.
The movie Neo.
Yeah, I won't have to do that. So that'll be great. I mean, I remember, Mike, we had to get our Uber and like we said, don't stop. Get the doors open. We'll just dive in.
I got stabbed in the leg anyway. And I got stabbed in the leg anyway, you know?
We were like doing parkour on the boardwalk down there.
It
so
was,
we didn't get hit by stray bullets.
Scary.
Yeah.
I had never been exposed to that kind of violence before. Joking aside, what was the actual question?
How do you think this one's going to be different than the one we went to in Atlantic City?
Like, joking aside about Atlantic City, if at all, I mean, the actual show, probably not a ton, but the secondary stuff, like we went to the casino, like Cleveland's not Atlantic City. I'm sorry, everyone making fun of Atlantic City. We had a blast. We went to the casino. We went to some bars. We walked the boardwalk. We had a lot of fun doing that. Cleveland doesn't really have that stuff. Let's be fair. So, like, it's going to be more card. I want to say card centric, but also like confined. It's going to be, I'm sure people are going to go out to bars and restaurants out in Cleveland, but in terms of like, you can't just leave the convention center and go walking to like a really nice shopping area like we did the time EP broke my arm. Like, you're not going to be able to like find that stuff like right outside the convention center. At least I couldn't. If you're from Cleveland, comment below. Maybe you know some spots right around the convention center that would be fun. But yeah, it's going to be more concentrated, if that makes sense.
More in the bubble.
In the bubble, yeah.
That sounds like a blast, actually, 100%. Kind of what we hit on previously, for perspective wise, for our perspective, being our second show, like I believe that it's gonna be a completely different experience for us, right? Like that to me is probably the biggest thing. Obviously, no casino, no boardwalk. It's not going to be in was it subtropical, whatever the ocean side is going to be a little bit different, like atmosphere, that sort of. So I'm not saying it's not going to be hot, because it's probably going to be hot, but it's going to be a little bit different.
Probably not going to be as swampy.
Right. Yeah.
It was pretty swampy.
It was pretty swampy. Yeah.
Mike, bring the hoodie. I might need the hoodies.
I think you'll need a hoodie. It'll be July. No, but I'm excited about it because of I can't wait to see what the experience is like. Obviously, the tables are going to be different places, and it's going to be, when you walk in, it's going to be look different. But as far as perspective wise, I'm really excited to see how I take it in when I arrive at this thing for the second trip, but also like the third time walking into a room like this. As excited as I get for some cards.
Yeah, and it won't have that wow, what do we do factor. Like I'm excited for that. Like, I know what to expect now because I've seen it. You're facing,
it was a wow too, man.
You're facing a pitcher that throws 100 miles per hour. You see the first 100 mile per hour pitch, then you're like, okay, now I know what I have to do. So like, kind of feels the same going to the show. Now I'm not going to, it'll be kind of wow, but it's not going to be overwhelming wow, because we did have a lot of, okay, what do we do? Where do we go?
That first day was a blur, right? That first day was a complete blur.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even remember half of that. Half of what was there.
The pounder probably didn't help, to be fair. I'll tell you what, how quickly did we find beer?
They were
delicious. And I bought everyone.
You did?
Oh, there it is.
I bought everyone a beer, so I don't want to hear that crap. I bat signal went off, or Spidey sense, or whatever you want to call it. I knew where to find that beer, and I'm going to find it in Cleveland. Don't you worry.
And another big difference is our channel's a little bigger. I am hoping again that people that subscribe to the channel or watch any of our videos come up and say hi, because we certainly didn't have. I almost knocked my microphone over, but we didn't have that experience before. So like, not that I'm not saying that because I feel like we're a big shot. We're not. We're still very small in this hobby, but like, I want to meet the people again, the people that support us, the people that like to watch the three of us idiots on this channel all the time. I want to know what you're like, because you get to see a lot about us.
Right.
So,
and maybe swing by Saturday, June 29th at 8 p.m. for our live stream, and let us know if you're going to the National. Maybe we should think about doing a meetup, something. Let us know. So come out Saturday, June 29th, 8 p.m. for our live stream.
That's it. Like, there's nothing more that needs to be said.
Right.
All right, guys, that was a great chat this week, and I will see you Saturday night and next week. Take care, guys.
Adios.
See you, boys.